Good to have everybody here to our March meetup. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. I am excited for today's guest. Number one, as an entrepreneur. So this guy's journey, we're gonna talk a little bit about it today. Definitely from the trenches, started from the bottom and we here. This is him, all the way through his real estate journey, from property manager, the DIY, doing it yourself, and also doing it in different and multiple markets. So we're gonna talk about his BRRRR strategy. We're gonna talk about his story, and we're definitely gonna take questions towards the end. So whatever questions you have, write them down so we can ask them, toward the end of the session. But I want to introduce everybody to Joshua Wilson. Give him a hand.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you for coming out.
Absolutely.
So take us back to the beginning. How do you even get started in real estate?
Yeah. So, I blame a little bit of my wife for getting into real estate. She always loved HGTV. And so we would spend many nights watching the shows. And, it was one of those things where, I wanted to invest. Oh, I'm losing. Oh, you good? Okay. I wanted to invest in real estate, but I didn't know how. So the only thing that I knew how to do was operations. That's what I was good at. And so, I started managing property at an early age, learning how to sign leases, how to evict tenants, how to cut grass, how to paint properties, how to you name it, we did it. We did make-readies, we did everything. Anything and everything we could learn how to manage real estate. So we did that for about a few years. And then from there, we ended up going to Jackson, Mississippi in 2008 when the market crashed. And I found my first property. It was $5,000. And I told my wife, we were riding up to it. She's like, there's no way in hell we are buying this house. And I'm like, this is all the money we have. We're gonna, we're rolling the dice, So anyway, we bought the property, $5,000, and 2 weeks later we got an offer for $10,000, and then that's when I told her, I said, I'm sold. I want to do real estate, and so that's how we started. And then in addition to that, a lot of people, see today, they see the result of where we started. It was not easy. It was extremely difficult. The 2008-2009 crash almost crushed me. We were just getting started, just starting a company, just starting a business, and we survived. We actually now survived COVID. We survived hurricanes. So I can clearly say that, we are definitely, we persevered big time. So
what was the very beginning? So what did W-2 life look like? You said you had a background in operations. So what was it before entrepreneurship?
Yeah, so we, to make ends meet, we started a property management company, and that is what our main income was. That's how we survived. In addition to that, we took on other jobs just to support my hobby of wanting to get into real estate. We actually used to do non-emergency medical transportation. So we would take patients to dialysis appointments, to the doctor, et cetera. And we also did workers' comp. And a funny story I'll tell you, one day, my wife and I, we were taking this patient to Baton Rouge, and she would always like to, join me, on the trips. But unfortunately with the workers' comp, you couldn't have anybody with you. So I convinced her to lay all the way in the third row of the truck and ride with me all the way to Baton Rouge just so that I wouldn't fall asleep on the way back. And so it just goes to show you that, just because, it gets hard doesn't mean you can't get out of it. And that's what we did. So,
yeah. So what was the switch for you guys that made it not be a hobby? When was that opportunity?
Yeah, that was in 2010 when we started getting out of the recession. 2010 came around. We actually found a money partner. Again, remember 2007, 8, and 9. I was learning as much as I could about real estate. I basically wanted to go to somebody and said, "Look, you give me the money, I will manage the property for you. I will show you how to make money." And that's what I did. And so I found an investor, and he bet on me just as much as I bet on him. And we started buying properties. I remember and this is for you that live here in New Orleans, had a property on Constant Street. I know pretty much you know where Constance is now.
Yeah, uptown.
Can you imagine in the 4100 block of Constant Street, which is right near Napoleon, we passed up a property for $30,000. Okay, because
What year is this?
that was in 2009, like late 2009.
Okay, wow.
We passed up a property for $30,000 because the properties we bought before we were buying for 10 and 20, and we were like, "There's no way we're paying an extra $10,000. That is ridiculous." And we look back now at the property's worth $750,000 today. So, bad mistake.
So what was the takeaways from that boxed in mentality?
Buy
What you
real
learned
estate
from it?
and wait.
Okay.
Just buy it if
Yeah.
it makes sense and it's in your buy box. Like so, we do a lot with mentorship and coaching and whatnot, and we teach a method which we call like our buy box. A lot of people use it in business acquisitions. We do the same thing with real estate. So we have a buy box, and as long as it fits the buy box, I'll buy it. My buy box does change over time as you grow as an investor, as an entrepreneur. But if you're just starting out, your buy box is probably going to stay the same for a little while, and that's fine. But as long as you stick to the buy box, you should never go wrong.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the conversations with private lenders. So you're brand new in this business. Somebody has a treasure chest of cash. How do you convince them that they should entrust in you?
Yeah, there's a plethora of money out there in the market today. So if you have some type of skill, anything in relation to real estate, and you're trying to raise money, even if you're trying to start a business, same thing. If you can show somebody that you can pay them back and they're going to make a return on their investment, which we actually like to call it, we call it an opportunity. We're pitching to them an opportunity. And I actually, just another sidebar too, have raised about $2 million just off of social media stories alone.
Yeah.
So I'm very active on social media, but there's a reason for it, and I use it strictly for business. So you guys that are out there right now, you're afraid to get on social media, get on social media as fast as you can and start documenting your journey, and you will have people come out the woodwork wondering to know how they can work with you, how they can invest with you. Just document your wins. Even if you have some losses along the way, document those too. It makes you human.
Yeah. What were some of those mistakes back in, I would say, between 08 and 12 and 13 that you kind of stick with you now, and you use those as principles?
I just wish that I wasn't so focused on the numbers then, because during a crash like that, everybody's running away from the fire, and we were running into it, and it was probably the scariest thing of my life. I felt so uncomfortable going into 08, 09, and 10, just trying to scoop up properties, and then you're seeing the market like steadily rise, so you're like, oh no, I don't want to catch a falling knife, even though like properties are going for like $30,000. You were thinking, oh, there's no way in hell it's ever going to go back to $100, $200, $300,000, and now $750.
Right.
So, my advice now is, even we're in a high market today. As long as it makes sense, as long as you have multiple exit strategies, as long as it cash flows, just hold on and just wait it out. And the market's going to go up, it's going to go down, it's going to go sideways, it's going to go left. Just hang tight. If it goes down, just wait it out. The cash flow is there. Brianna and I were talking. That's my wife, Brianna, right here in the front, everybody. She's my business partner, so we talk a lot about real estate. We were talking earlier, and as long as you can wait out a market, you'll be fine. You'll never lose. Guy Dan Fleshman, I follow on social media. He always says, if you never sell, you'll never lose. And it's actually the truth. If you just wait it out, wait till you get to a high point of the market, sell it, you're good. But the problem is most people get scared. And so they unload all their stuff, unload all their properties. They're like, oh my God, the end of the world's coming. I got to get cash. But at the end of the day, the cash at that point is trash. So you rather hold on to the assets, and you'll be able to trade, do something with it at some point. So
yeah, and that's my next question. So how do you close the gap between fear and logic? Because there's a fear of, I don't want to sell too early, and then there's a fear of, I don't want to sell too late. So how do you close that gap?
For me, I don't sell anything. So I buy everything I buy. I like to hold on to it. The only reason why I sell it, I'll give you an example. I actually have one I just sold in Kenner the other day, and I was doing all this work to it, and we ended up finding out we had foundation issues, and so we ended up selling the property. And we get to the closing table, and the guy's like, I'm like, yeah, so what you going to be doing with the property? He goes, oh, I'm just knocking it down. I'm like, oh, great. I'm like, I just spent all this money in here, in this property, and the foundation issues come up, and then he's going to knock it down. So I do sell some things only when they're like a problem. So other than that, I'm going to hold on to it, and I'll pass it on to my kids someday when I'm not here. So
yeah, that's perfect. Wow. Great answer on that one. So fast forward. So at this time, what does the team look like?
So we actually run a very lean team, but I use automation and technology to our
2012.
advantage.
I'm sorry. So we're talking 2012,
2013.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay.
Okay.
Team in 2012.
Back then. Yep.
It was my shotgun rider right there. That was it.
Because we just got money at this point. So before we were doing emergency transportation, we were buying cheap properties. Now we got money, so we got the opportunity to scale up.
Yep.
Right. So with those growing pains come more business. So
yeah. So it was actually, we ran a lean team again. We were still using automation. I'm a big advocate on technology. So I was always kind of leaning forward into how can I do this with less people? How can I go on My wife and I couldn't take a vacation without getting a phone call from a tenant. It is what it was at the time. And I remember many vacations that unfortunately I probably wasn't around as much. It's just because I was hustling. I was trying to build a business, and I know she hated me for it back then, but I'm making up for it now. So, because now we have a full-fledged team available to us, but I would not have been able to do that had I not gone through what I went through, and had I not, made the mistakes and then learned on how to build the team, build the structure, build the foundation. 2012. It was just her and I, so it was literally her and I, property management software, and we had a answering service. That was like the greatest thing I found in 2012.
That was your first hire.
It was it. It was my first hire. We hired an answering service, and then that got me a little detached from being an investor.
Yeah, so. Perfect. Lead generation. Tell us a little bit about that. So 2008 in Jackson, you were just driving by and you saw that property. Yeah. But now we got this war chest. So we could buy properties. What did lead generation look like before that?
Yeah.
Before then.
Yeah, so lead generation. So it's probably hard for everybody to remember what a market was like when, like a normal market, because the market we're in right now is absolutely freaking insane. Yeah. So back in 2012, 14, 15, 16, 17, it was like normal. Like you could go on the MLS and you could find a property. It was cash flowing for $1,600 a month, and you could go there and buy that property for $100,000, and it was perfectly fine. Today, you're buying that same $1,600 cash flowing property for like $160,000. That doesn't fit my buy box, so I don't buy those properties. So what was your question? I completely went off topic.
How are you guys generating leads to grow a portfolio with the new cash you got?
Yeah, so leads. Again, so 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, we were just going on MLS. I was just making offers. My saying is, I say this a lot in our group, I say it, make offers and make them often. Because the more offers you make, the more properties you're going to get. If you make no offers, you will never buy a property. Yeah. And it's just clean as that. You can go to somebody, you can make offers. I'm sorry for all the agents in the room. I'm probably going to make you upset. But you can go and make offers, and you can make creative offers. And if they don't make sense to the agent or the seller, that's fine, but it makes sense to you. Eventually, somebody at some point may come back to you and say, you know what? Our deal fell through. It didn't work out. And boom, you get a deal. I've gotten so many deals by just making stupid offers, and all of a sudden you get seller fatigue, and they're like, I just want to get rid of this property. And they're like, they go back to the guy that presented the cash offer or the creative financing offer that was a higher offer, but it fit the selling box of the seller at that point in time. So it's all about emotions, unfortunately, and you got to catch the seller at the right time. So.
Yeah, that's a great answer. So right now you're building a machine. This is 08, fast forward to 12. How does the relationship with that private lender evolve? Do we add more lenders? Are these lenders falling off?
No, not yet. Okay. We were very close. Like 2015 is when I finally started realizing, I'll back up a little bit. 2012 to 2014, we were just running and grinding, we were buying properties, putting a 20% down payment here, putting a 20% down payment here. And I kept thinking to myself, I'm like, how in the hell are people doing this and buying all these properties and expanding their portfolios like overnight? And so I finally talked to a banker one day, and he goes, Josh, why don't you just use somebody else's money? And then it hit me, and I'm like, other people's money. Okay. And so then I started asking. Actually, my mother-in-law was my first investor, and she came on actually as an equity investor, and so she actually shared in the equity and the cash flow of the property. She did not like the ups and downs of, all of a sudden we had to replace a toilet one month, and then all of a sudden her check went from 1,000 to like 200, and then next month she didn't get any money. So that's how I was like, how can I do this to where I can guarantee them a set amount and then not have to give them any equity? And so that's what I did. That's when I started doing private lending. Well, I don't do private lending. That's when I started engaging with private lenders. And so my mother-in-law, she invested $250 with me, and then now it's up to almost $700,000. So and she actually retired off of that money. So I'm very proud of that. Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
That's nice. So quick question: what did work-life balance look like back then? Because if you're scaling up this fast, you guys got a family and a lot of people in the same situation, wearing many hats. What's some advice you could give?
I'm getting dirty looks over here.
What's some advice on work-life balance?
Okay, so this is going to be my real answer.
Yeah,
I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I've always been an entrepreneur since I was a kid. 7 years old. I don't know if anybody here old enough in the room to know this, but there was a guy by the name of Brad Richdale. He sold like these infomercials on TV, and he had the Lamborghinis and the yachts and the jets. And I looked at my dad one day and I said, I want to do that. And he was like, okay, yeah, sure. I was like, Dad, buy me the infomercial. I want to do that. So he bought me the book. It came in the mail, and I got it. And I remember going to my mom's office at the time, and I literally photocopied 20 or 30 of them. And I put them in a manila envelope, and I packaged them up, and I went door to door in my grandma's neighborhood, and I sold them for like $100. And so that was like the spark for me of like, as a young kid, as an entrepreneur, I just had it in my blood. And so ever since this day, I enjoy this stuff. Like I live and breathe it. So work-life balance for me is hard because I really honestly think there is no work-life balance. You're either in or you're out. Yeah. And I know that's not what a lot of people want to hear, but it's really the truth because I've experienced it. What's that? Yes, but you have to have a great wife like her. So, yes.
That's a great answer. And I agree, and I think it is personal to each person. Yep. But that's still a great answer at the end of the day, right? So let's take us to beyond 2012. So we scaling up. The money's there now. The systems starting to develop. So what's the next step into gluing together the system that you have been forming all this time?
Yeah, so the systems, that's the fun stuff. So now we have systems in place that we've kind of built over time. So essentially, there was a guy, I actually listened to him this week, and I was in Tampa this past week at an event, and I don't know if you know Mark Evans, DM, but he's a social media guy, and he's a real estate guy, actually a business entrepreneur, and he said something that really kind of like spoke to me, and he said, if you're constantly putting out fires, you're probably the arsonist. And so that made me think like, okay, we have all these problems, and maybe the problem is me. Maybe I need to get out of my own way. And so that's what I did. Like 2017 or so, we started making a huge transition to get myself out of the business. And so that has allowed me, once I've done that. So this was the hard part, is that I was living off of all the money. So like literally every dollar that came in, we spent it and we invested it right back. I was like living broke because I just kept reinvesting the money. So, that was difficult. So I forgot where I was going with that, but yeah. So any work-life balance, what are we talking about? Yes, teams, systems. I'm sorry, I get so many thoughts in my head. Systems, yeah. So that's when we started implementing the systems to get me out of the business. So we now have leasing software now to where my wife used to actually go show all of our property. She hasn't shown a property in probably 5 years now. 2 years. Okay. Yeah. Feels like longer than that. She hasn't shown a property in a long time, and we do it all now virtually. We do it all via text message. We do ID verification, but it's all done in the background. Like we don't touch it. And we do now like leases. So all of our leases are signed electronically, which I'm sure a lot of you do here now. All of our rent checks, we don't take a single rent check in the mail. Everything comes in electronically. We have systems set up with e-check, debit card, Ace Cash Express, Walmart, and CVS. So there's no excuse. Get your rent in, pay it, and that's it. Same thing with maintenance requests. All of our maintenance requests are now they're all incoming via email and through our software. So we never have to answer the phone. Take a maintenance request. You log into your app. All of our tenants have an app. They log in there. They can pop it in there, take pictures. They can show us exactly what's going on. It makes our jobs easier, but also we can fix the problem faster. So, and then we did. Then we got we had the answering service. We ramped that up a little bit. So yeah, just a lot of things. Again, to all the things that I was doing. We have VAs now. We have some VAs from the Philippines that we pay, $15 an hour, $13 an hour. They do all of our accounting. One of them is a licensed CPA. Again, they do our back office accounting for rent collections and payables and all that, all the easy stuff. So again, all those things that I was doing in the business every single day, now I've been able to actually go out and go acquire other businesses that are making money as well. So, because I'm out of the business. So,
yeah, great. So, can you give us an example on what it looks like building, and you can give us one of your shorter processes, what it looks like developing those systems from the beginning. So, when you decided that you needed to fire yourself, because we got some people in the room right now that's up to their eyeballs and work, and they hear systems. So, walk us through what it looks like to create a system, and then.
Absolutely, it's actually very easy. All you have to do is sit down one day and watch just kind of watch yourself, what you're doing. And that's what I did. I took a couple of days and I just kind of, was very cognizant of what I was doing. I would answer an email from a tenant. I would answer an email from a client. I would call my project manager back about the rehab that's going on. I would I would do phone sales from Home Depot. Just little stupid things like that. And so I would write them down as I would do it. And so then I would go back and I would say, okay, how can I get myself out of this process? Because I'm like the blockchain. I'm the problem. And so that's what I did. And so I would create systems based off of the manual tasks that I was doing. And then I eventually also took that a little step further and tried to automate those tasks at the same time. So I would go online and look and say, how can we do, one example, our mail, we get a ton of mail. So how can I get this mail to where it goes into an email, into my inbox, so I don't have to physically open the mail and go rip it up? Easy answer. I found a service that actually I can send all my mail to that one address, and it gets emailed to my email, and then I forward it off via another program, and it gets inputted into my software.
You remember the service?
Yes. It's Regis. I'm sure it's a virtual office.
Okay. Yeah, we probably could Google it, but
yep.
that's
it's $199 a month, and I don't have to open a piece of mail ever. So
perfect. Yeah. And just to add to that, this is the reason why I asked. It's not rocket science, right? But the hardest part is taking the patience and setting aside the time to actually do it. So what we do is we actually have the person in that position record themselves doing the work. So either on a Zoom call or something like that, and then we'll send that video off to somebody on Fiverr, and they could process map it. We throw it in a Google Drive, and now that next hire, all they have to do is watch the video in a process map. Yep. So that's perfect what you said, but in our infancy, that's what we're doing right now also. So
yeah, and automation is here. So if you're not using it, you need to use it. There's so much technology and automation out there that would just boggle your mind. So absolutely go out there and look and see what you can use to make your life easier. And yeah.
Yep. So at this point, you've built Godzilla, right? So now
Something like that.
Yeah. So this monster that you built, how did you introduce this monster to the BRRRR strategy?
Man, so I tell you this though, if I would have known about the BRRRR strategy earlier on, like when I found out about other people's money and then the BRRRR strategy, if I would have known about that, in 2008, my portfolio would be triple, or it would be massive. It would be absolutely massive. So, the BRRRR strategy is an extremely powerful strategy. Does everybody here know what the BRRRR strategy is? No? Yep. Okay. Buy, rehab, rent, refinance. My favorite one is repeat. So you do it over and over and over again. We use the same capital, flip it around every 45, 60 days, and just continue to buy more properties, put them into our wheelhouse, and that's it. And then we get cash flow, depreciation, tax benefits, principal reduction. We actually have a few cool little tidbits we do with vertical integration. Vertically integrated, meaning like we actually have a bunch of companies that all align within our property. So, for instance, property management company, sales brokerage, landscaping company, pest control company, painting company, rehab company. You can start acquiring companies that fit your investment philosophy or your investment portfolio. And every time you buy a property, you're buying a new customer for your companies. That's what we do.
Yeah, I love it. Can you give us an example of what that private money relationship looks like with the BRRRR strategy? So for the people in the room that either have an IRA or either have one investor or have their own savings, how can I use private money and marry that with financing to execute this BRRRR strategy?
Yep. So we do a couple things with the financing side. So you can there are two types of ways that you can invest with loans. Number one is private money. Number two, you can do hard money. And I'm talking about these are loans that you can utilize for the BRRRR strategy. I'm not talking about putting 20, 30% down payment on a property. These are actually BRRRR strategy loans. So hard money loan, we have hard money lenders that'll lend 85, 90% LTV. So what we will do is we actually have some investors that don't mind taking a second position mortgage. And so we will then give them a second position mortgage. That is our down payment. And so we plop the down payment onto our hard money loan, and then we cash them out after we do our cash out refinance. Private lender gets paid off. Hard money loan gets paid off. Bam, we do it again, repeat the process over. I've actually done that. Just finished, bought a 9-unit complex, and I borrowed $100,000 from a private investor. And, we did a cash out refinance on that deal. Again, zero of my own money, no money in the deal. It cash flows like $3,000 a month. It was like a $800,000, $700,000 deal. And, just by using the private money as a down payment and then using the hard money to actually renovate the property and acquire the property.
Gotcha. So how do you scale that up? So it's a good strategy, but how do you take it from
other people's money is the way to scale. So the absolute best way is to, and I'll give you guys a tidbit of going back to the social media stuff. For you younger folks in here, use social media. I'm actually, believe it or not, I am on TikTok. So I am on TikTok. Yep. And so I have a social media lady that does that now for TikTok stuff. But yeah, get on social media, post. Let everybody know what you're doing. And then also too, another thing, social media tip, when you go on Facebook and you see, Facebook will tell you who your friends should be. Okay. So you need to go out first and start finding people, like search for people that are in investor groups. Like go join investor groups in Facebook and start finding the people that are posting about deals or information. And then you friend them on Facebook, and then Facebook's going to start giving you more friends like them. And then so that's how you start growing your network. You got to use Facebook as a business tool, not as a place to go hang out and party. So if you do that, then you'll start growing your network as a actual an investor network, and then you can start finding private money that way. You'll start finding deals. You'll start finding private money. That's what I've done.
Yeah, and you're not the first person that said that. If everybody goes back and listen to Kristen Kennedy's episode, she said the exact same thing verbatim, and she's raised money also. So tell us a little bit about your underwriting process now knowing in the back of your mind that this is going to be a BRRRR strategy.
Yep.
So you get a deal either from a wholesaler or on market. How are you looking at this deal to kind of back that, not back that thing up, but back the truck.
Okay, Juvie.
Backing it into knowing that you're going to do the cash out refi.
Yep. Yeah, so we have what's called a buy box.
Okay.
So buy box, it's literally our buy box. All of my students in our mastermind, they literally create a buy box. My buy box is 1 to 20 units. We do cash flow minimum of $100 a month per unit. And I know some of you are looking at me crazy, probably like $100 a month. How in the hell do you live on $100 a month? I'm telling you, if you do it this way, it's a very conservative way to do it. And the reason why I do $100 a month per unit is because these are after all of my expenses. I'm talking property management, I'm talking reserves, taxes, insurance, materials, maintenance, labor. I do it all, the entire thing. And so at the end of the day, my properties will probably cash flow closer to like $300 a month, but $100 a month is my conservative amount. So what I do is I take that $100 a month, and that is what I can live off of. I can conservatively take that out of the account, and then the rest of it I keep in the account, and I let it build up. And then at the end of the year, I look at Breon, and we say, okay, we either had a good year or we had a bad year. Yeah. And if we had a bad year, we don't take anything out. If we had a good year, we'll take a draw, and we can go to Cancun or something. I don't know, but that's essentially how we do it. That's our strategy. And then we do the same thing with LTV. LTV is loan to value. Right. We're looking at properties 70 to 75% LTV. We can actually go up. Our banks will allow us to go to 80. But again, I'm a more seasoned investor, so somebody that's going into the deal just starting out, you're likely probably not going to get 80. You may, but likely not. But that's okay. You can still, get 70 or 75%, but you have to create that buy box and stick to the buy box. Do not buy a property if it doesn't fit the buy box, because I always say no buy box equals bankrupt.
So how do you decide, knowing what your bank would do for you, how do you decide whether you're going to underwrite it at 70 or 75%? Because that could kill a deal.
Yep.
Also.
Yeah. You need to go right now. Everybody can write this down. You need to go out tomorrow and look up every bank that has like savings and loan or federal credit union or like small local community banks, and go introduce yourself to all those banks. Even if you don't have any money, even if you don't have any properties, it doesn't matter. Go to those banks, introduce yourself, and ask them what are their terms. What do they like to lend on? Because I'm going to tell you this now, every bank is different. Every bank likes a certain category. Every bank has a certain lending limit, and I learned this the hard way. I was using one particular bank. I'm not going to throw up Heritage Bank. I use them on the North Shore. And
that is who you use. That's not
that's who I initially used. Actually, so I'll back up a second. I bought my first home through them. Our second home our first home on the North Shore. I bought through them. It was St. Tammany Homestead at the time. I bought bond for deed. It was a foreclosure, and I bought that through them. And so at the time, they just foreclosed on the builder. So I came in. I was like, look, I'll give you $10,000 and I'll finance it. I didn't have credit or anything. So, and they were like, sure, no problem. Okay, great. So I bought that. I did that bond for deed from them, and I performed. I paid every month, paid on time. I didn't miss a payment. And then I built that relationship with them. So my suggestion to you is to go in there and just build those relationships. Even if you don't have anything for them now, you will at some point. And building that relationship is huge. So now back to my story. I found out the hard way that banks have a legal lending limit. And so I was doing all my deals through Heritage, and we were like up to $2-3 million. And then all of a sudden, what's up, JJ? We were doing all these deals, and then all of a sudden, I get an email, and it's like, you have reached your legal lending limit. I'm like, what the hell is that? Right. I'm like, we're doing all these deals. This is fun, And so that's when my banker told me, he goes, Josh, you have to go to another bank. And I was like, another bank, but I'm giving you all these, this money and deal. He's like, it's the way the game is. And so that's what we did. So I started going out to other banks, and then I realized that, okay, they're willing to lend me just as much. And actually I found out that some other banks have higher limits than others based off of their capital capacity. So it's just one thing, you're going to find out, make those connections with the banks. And then also don't be discouraged if you go in there and they're like, no, we don't lend on single families, or we don't lend on 4 units or 10 units. You will find a bank that will lend on a deal that you need to get done. So
from your experience, what position should we start building those relationships with? 'Cause I know some of the smaller credit unions.
Now.
No, I mean, which position? So should I go for the juggler and go for the president of the bank?
Oh, no.
It's just relationship bankers. How do I start?
You want to go in there and ask for the commercial loan officer.
Okay.
You want to go to the commercial side because that's the side that is going to lend on the deals that you're trying to do. I'm assuming everybody in here wants to do rental properties and real estate and flips. So those are going to be your best friends. Go in there and find the commercial loan officer or the commercial banker, and then work your way in that way. And yeah.
Yeah. So let's massage this BRRRR strategy a little bit more. How are you guys underwriting the conditions of the property now? Because if you ask 10 different investors how much it's going to take to do this property, you're going to get 11 different answers. So for you guys, how are you, when you walking through, how are you guys putting together? Because you have a team, you're vertically integrated. How are you looking at repairs to underwrite this?
Okay, you're not going to like this answer. So when I first started, I would go through all the properties. It was myself and my contractors, and we would go through them, and we would look at them, and we would come up with rehab estimates. As I started buying more properties, I started getting very comfortable with the properties. I started, after doing so many, you start understanding that, you know what? Yeah, every property is unique, but at the same time, they're all really the same. And so I actually have, for the past probably 3-4 years now, maybe 3 or 4 years now, I have not been in any of the properties that we bought. And I've never seen them. I've never been on the street. I couldn't tell you. I see Debbie Hebert back there. She's my appraiser, and she could probably tell you too. She probably knows more about the properties I bought than I do. So, but yeah, there's at the end of the day, we use a calculator, and it breaks down essentially, painting, painting, flooring, HVAC, roofing, all the main components, and we just do a square foot price for each item, and it gives us a very a good roundabout number. It's not accurate, it's not 100%, but it'll give you a very pretty decent number to where you can go in there and figure out your rehab costs. So again, I have no rocket science here to share with you about rehabs. It's really not hard to figure out. The biggest problem, honestly, is a lot of people will have is that they'll go in there and have analysis paralysis. You'll go in there and overanalyze every single thing in the property, and then you'll talk yourself out the deal. And unfortunately, you'll lose properties that way. And so for me, I go in there knowing that, okay, it's something that I can fix. It's something that you can write a check for, you can figure it out. And especially with the BRRRR strategy, that's the great thing, is that we're not flipping. So with the BRRRR strategy, at worst case scenario, you'll be able to get your money back over time if you absolutely need to. And you may have to leave a few dollars in the deal if you overdo it. But at the end of the day, the best thing I can tell you is, you know what, if you want, I can email everybody our calculator and they can use that. So
yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, definitely. I'll post it in the group.
Yep.
And we're gonna take questions in a little bit. One more question before we wrap up. Appraisals. So I know that is a big component of the BRRRR strategy. How are you making sure that you are rehabbing the property to make sure that when Debbie comes, we're not under appraised and we can't execute this thing how we planned it on the front end?
She actually beats me. There's times where I get their appraisal back and I'm like, damn, I underestimated that one.
Right.
So no.
When it doesn't.
No, when it doesn't. Yeah. I mean, look, we've had those. Everybody's had those, right? So it does happen. It's not saying it's perfect, but it does happen. And unfortunately, there's times where, one strategy actually that I did use a few times when that has happened is when you start acquiring properties over time, and as you guys continue to build your portfolio over time, you can use the same strategy. So what I did was I had one property that came back like undervalue, and I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna have to leave like 20 grand in the deal. So then I'm like, wait a minute, I got other properties. And so I had another property that I had a loan on, and I had a little equity in it. So I just said, oh, the hell with it. I'll just refinance. I'll throw them both together and do a portfolio loan on those properties. And then I got my money back because I had equity in the other deal. So, you can do the same thing. So when those things do happen, you just got to be creative with it. And sometimes at the BRRRR strategy, you may have to leave a few dollars in the deal. You're not always going to get all of your cash out all the time. I've been pretty successful with it. I probably have like a 95% success rate with getting all my money out, but there will be times where I have to leave it in, or I'll have to bring in another property to offset the loss or the difference.
Perfect. Steve, you want to come up? Because we could take questions to that microphone. Yeah, right here. We're about to wrap up in a few. I want to ask, so what, for the people that don't know, what does it mean with the BRRRR strategy, leaving money in the deal? How do you guys define that?
Yep. So that would be like me putting down, like, say for instance, I put down $20,000 as a down payment in the deal, and the appraisal comes back at say $10,000 less, and I have to leave $10,000 in the deal. So I'm only pulling out that 10 that I put in. So you're paying off your hard money guy, you're paying off your private lender, and you're going to have to leave money in the deal. You can't take it all out. So you'll have to either come up with 10 to pay off your private guy, or you'll have to bring another property or something else to the deal to try to offset the equity so that it matches, so you can get your cash out.
Gotcha. And we're wrapping up again. Tax strategy. So how has the BRRRR strategy, how are you applying a tax strategy with this versus flipping or property management? How beneficial is it?
Yeah. So how many people in here pay taxes?
Supposed to pay taxes.
Yeah. So with real estate, there's something called cost segregation. We use it on every deal that we have, and that has allowed me, I haven't paid taxes in about 10 years. I'm just using the system the way it was designed. I have a great CPA, and, cost segregation is my friend. I don't know how long it's going to be here for, but for as long as it's here, we will use it. And I highly recommend anytime you buy a property, go get a cost segregation study done. They're about $1,000, $1,500 a property, and it'll save you a tremendous amount of money, especially with bonus depreciation, everything else that's coupled with it. I am not a CPA. I'm not giving any advice, but I'm just telling you that those things have worked very well for me. So
yeah, we have a CPA in the room. Yep. Bob, raise your hand. Okay. You could ask Bob to explain that what he just said in English, so we can understand it. No, that's great. So at this point, so tell us about the boot camp. I'm sorry, and then we'll take questions.
Yes.
When is it? And
we do a virtual boot camp once a month, so we got kind of go a little more in depth than this. It's over 2 days, an hour each day. You can just go to BRRRRbootcamp.com, BRRRR bootcamp.com. 2 days, March 14th and 15th, so it's Monday and Tuesday of next week. It's for an hour, and we kind of deep dive into the BRRRR strategy. I'll show you a few of my deals and kind of how we do it, et cetera. And so I'd love to see y'all there.
And how much is it?
It's free.
And if I multiply that times 10, how much is it?
Free.
Okay. All right. Perfect. So if anybody has questions, that mic is on the recorder, so we want to make sure we capture these questions. Raise your hand. If the mic can reach to them, Steve, just reach it to it. But if not, you may have to come up to the mic for your question. So first question.
This is easy.
Courtney?
I'll break the bubble and you can just repeat it.
Okay. Good as
Josh,
sure.
how often do you update that repair calculator that you have per square foot for like painting, things like that with the fluctuations?
Yeah,
Who updates it? Is it one of your team members or?
No,
Excuse me. I'm sorry. Okay. Oh, he's gonna repeat it. All right. Perfect.
So, yes, we update the calculator based off of, we're getting material numbers in pretty much every other day, so it's kind of fluid. So what we do is after every project that we do, we go in and we run our numbers, and we'll see, okay, our material cost for flooring costs this, our roofing shingles cost X, Y, and Z. And so what we'll do is we'll go in there, we'll compile it together and come up with a per square foot price and update it based off of that. So it gets updated probably once every other month or so.
And who's responsible for that on the team?
That is our project manager. Yes.
Okay, good stuff.
But it's something that anybody can do. I mean, it's not hard. So.
Next question, John.
This is for tall people. Is it on? So out of curiosity, how often and under what circumstances do you pull equity out of your BRRRR properties?
Every one. Yeah, every single one. And until they tell me I can't. And oh no, I don't pull. No, I don't pull out any profit. I purely pull out whatever it is that I can pay off my private lender or hard money lender, whichever one I have, and that's it. I don't take any additional equity. I'm pretty conservative when it comes to that.
So how you talked about the team? I know you use a lot of automation, but for the people that you use, how are you finding them?
So we use Indeed to hire, and then also I've used Upwork as well. So I found some incredible people on Upwork. It's a local site for you that don't know. Upwork is a virtual assistant site, and you can get some. I mean, you can find the best of the best people in the entire USA and actually even in the globe. And the pricing is very reasonable. They actually only charge you based off of what you use them for. So you can go hire a marketing social media marketer. It's going to charge you $30 an hour, and she may spend only 10 hours a week and doing all your social media for you. And so. Yeah.
And you all are interviewing them personally?
Yep.
Yeah, and I vouch for Upwork. Any job that you post on Indeed, you can post it on Upwork. Yep. And just the hiring pool is just a way bigger stage than just Indeed with
100%.
being in the U.S. Yep, definitely. Next question. Nick.
What did you say was the website for the BRRRR boot camp?
Yep, BRRRR bootcamp.com. BRRRRbootcamp.com.
And how much is it?
Free.
All right. Back the thing
Post
up.
on Facebook as well.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Next question. I got another one.
Yeah, go ahead.
If somebody wanted to walk up to the mic. With that BRRRR strategy being leveraged so much on values, right? And the market is hot right now.
I knew I was going to get this question.
How are you guys bracing for whenever the market is not and the market takes that nosedive?
Yeah. So what we're doing is we're buying at lower LTVs. So to kind of give us a little more protection, we're analyzing properties probably a little bit harder than I would normally have done. And it's only because of what you just said. I know we're at a very high point in the market. We're still buying properties that, again, I'm paying prices that I paid in 2017. So, and that tells me, okay, I'm sticking to my strategy. I'm sticking to my buy box. So don't go and buy properties today because the rents are 4 times higher than they were before at a higher price. I'm still sticking, and I even underwrite based off of lower rents. I look at the the break even. Okay, at the end of the day, what is the worst case scenario? Can I meet my monthly debt obligations? If the rental prices drop 30%, if the even if the market, say for instance, the market drops 30%, it's really not going to affect me, only unless I got say 20 deals out on the market right now, and all of a sudden I can't refinance for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. And at that point, I kind of have plans in place for that. If that does happen, my investors already know we're just going to hold and wait until it comes back. And they will be paid. The rent will be, look, 2008, when the market crashed in 2008, the rental business boomed. I mean, it was incredible. You couldn't find housing. People were getting foreclosed on, and they needed places to go. So the rental side was fine. The market values took a nosedive. And for the guys that got scared, those are the ones who lost because they sold or they got foreclosed on. They were over-leveraged. We're not over-leveraged. I do 20-year mortgages on every single mortgage that I have, so I'm getting massive principal reduction on my portfolio. I recommend you guys do the same thing. Some people have different opinions about that. They want to do 30 years. I like to have that money paid down. I don't want to be sitting there with this balloon of debt that's not getting paid down. So hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Any other questions? Well, Josh is going to stick around for a little while longer. We're going to hang in the room for a little while longer. Then we're going to move down to River Shack Tavern for real estate and drinks. And we're going to take it to Steve for the needs and wants. But one more time, when is the next boot camp?
Yep, March 14th and 15th. So next Monday, Tuesday for an hour over Zoom. Just go BRRRRbootcamp.com. You can sign up, and then it's live in our Facebook group. So.
And how do we sign up at
BRRRRbootcamp.com.
And you also have a Facebook group?
Yep, but you got to go through the BRRRR Bootcamp to get to the Facebook group.
And how much is the BRRRR Bootcamp?
It's free.
And if I multiply it times 5, then it should go.
It's going to be free.
It's still going to be free.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. Steve, okay. All right.
Thank you. Yeah, awesome. Thanks. Appreciate it.
How awesome was that? Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, we're not done?
No, we're doing needs more.
No,
Okay.
You hang around,
Oh, okay.
Don't leave us. We doing a couple of drinks afterwards?
We're going to try that one more.
Okay. Awesome, guys. That was great. Obviously, we love bringing this awesome education here. But this group's also, it's about bringing information, local people who are doing things. You know, we'd like people that are active in our market, and that's the point of this meetup, to sort of share those local people. So we appreciate that, Josh. Also, it's about networking, right? So this room's important. The people you meet is important. And, you know, this group's been starting to grow. We're starting to get a lot of deals done together, see people meeting and getting deals done. And that's really what this is about. So I want to like see who's in a room and just help get the networking flowing. But I might give you a tip before I do that on networking, you know, so like how you want to do it. And I might use us, Emile, right? Like, so like we have this attitude to networking. It's not transactional, right? Don't be looking for, hey, who can I do a transaction with right now? Look to see who you can meet and just add value to. So, oh yeah, there we go. So how do we meet initially, Emile? Was it through Facebook, Bigger Pockets? How do we meet? No, probably not REA. So a group just like this, it wasn't a REA, yeah. So we met in a REA. And at the time, I was sort of new in America. You know, I was starting to get into wholesaling. Emile was a wholesaler. You know, we caught up and started talking. And, you know, some people might view that as a competitor, right? Like you could say, hey, why would Emile want to talk to me about wholesaling? You know, but you did, right? And we chatted, and you really educated me on the market locally. And likewise, I had a sales and marketing background and had a business background, which Emile was really interested in because he's a business guy. So like I really just helped Emile and talked about business and sales and marketing and systems, and we helped each other. And, you know, like we're both doing wholesaling. We're both in the same business. You know, you might go, why the hell are we helping each other? But, you know, there's this mindset of abundance, right? That when you do that, it's coming from a mindset of limited. And we believe the world's abundant. There's, you know, you don't need to fight over air, right? We're all breathing. You know, I don't need you to not breathe for me to breathe, right? And I don't need Emile to not do well for me to do well. So, you know, we really helped each other, and it was nothing transactional. We just did a deal now, actually, and so it's probably our first transaction we've actually done together, right, after a couple of years, you know, and but we could have not helped each other, and we would have been in a better position or worse position than we are today. Yeah, for sure, right? We helped each other grow, and that's really what we want to get about this group. We want everyone here just to help each other grow. Just meet people, add connections, just add value. And when you do that, the transactions will come later, right? So that's really what this is about. I want to encourage that. And to help facilitate that, just want to get a sense of who's in a room. So I might just ask a few questions and get you to put your hands up just so we can get a sense of who's here. So question.
Steve,
Yeah.
I just want to add to what
Him.
you're saying. So the transaction is just not between me. So the deal he's talking about, Vertical Capital is funding it, which they are in the room. The file is with David Birdsong, which he's a title attorney. He's in the room. I got the deal from Steve, which obviously he's in the room. And then I'm the buyer, which I'm in the room too. So these are ones, pay attention to that, see who's in the room, and just start a dialogue. It might not be a deal that you do today, but the relationship is forever. So
Absolutely. So question then, so who in the room here, just get show of hands, who's looking to buy a rental property in the next 6 months? Put your hands up, Josh. Cool. All right, so keep them up, Just look around, guys. So like these are people that, and me too, these are people that are looking to buy rentals. So, you know, maybe if you're a wholesaler or a real estate agent, you know, title company, insurance, you want to get to know these people. Who here in the next 6 months is looking to purchase a property to flip? Okay. Probably more rentals than flips, Josh. You have an influence, man.
Yeah.
I like it.
Cash flow.
Exactly. So cool. So contractors. I know these guys want contractors. Contractors get hands up. Contractors. Cool. We need contractors, right? So we want to get to know these guys. You can help these people who are flipping. You can help the rental people. Who here is a wholesaler? Cool. Quite a few wholesalers in a room, guys. So get on these people's lists, right? Get on their email list. See the deals they got. Your next deal could be with these people. Who here is a real estate agent?
Cool. So realtors, realtors get you deals too. There are deals on MLS. Probably a wholesaler, you're going to get a cheaper price, but you're going to have the terms are going to be harder. There's going to be all cash or private money. You're going to have to close fast with less inspections. You use a realtor, you're going to pay a higher price, but you're going to be able to use conventional financing. You're going to be able to ask them to make repairs. So get with these people to find your next deals. Who here is a title attorney? No, I know we've got one. Oh, got someone in the back too. All right. Title attorneys, cool. Who here does insurance? Way back there, and there too. What about property management? We've got Pelican back there. Don't know you. I have to get to know you too. Cool. What else? What haven't I mentioned? Something. Lenders always get the money. All right, keep those hands up, guys. Look around. These are lenders. Sometimes, you have too many deals and you have money, right? Maybe not in this market as much as normal, but get with these people. Definitely, I mentioned Vertical Capital again. They've sponsored the event, so we appreciate that. Emile put up his cash to do this, and, we don't really make money, but we're trying to get a few sponsors just to help pay the bills. Anything else? I haven't. Home inspectors. Any home inspectors in the room? Nah, we're investors. We don't do that.
What is that?
Anything else I should be mentioning, guys? Who has anyone want to talk about a deal? I know you sent out a deal today, Emile. Do you want to talk about your deal?
I just sent out a vacant lot, 2012 Andrew Street in Lower Ninth Ward. So if you are looking to build to do the BRRRR, it's zone HURD2. So you can throw up multifamily on that one. And I'm just asking $18,000 for that one. So get with me if you're looking to build a rental. That's 2012 Andrew Street, and I already posted the link in the Facebook group also.
Awesome. Anyone else got a deal? We're light on deals. I had like 3 last week, but they're gone already. That's cool. Okay, well, guys, we're gonna just hang around for a little. Wait, thank you.
Do you mind if I mention one thing on top of it?
Yes, please.
So for those of you who are struggling with contractors, so my name's Courtney Fricky. I've got the privilege of being on the Home Improvement Show on the weekends, and everyone is struggling with contractors right now. The Home and Garden Show is in the Superdome. We're literally going to be interviewing all day tomorrow. On Saturday for the show, we're going to be interviewing contractors at the Home and Garden Show. So guys, I don't even know what the cost of admission for is, but go check it out if you're trying to find contractors right now. They're literally filling the room with them. Anthony Quillen will be there. Other guys will be there.
I've seen people. Plug the radio station and time as well.
Yeah, so WWL on Saturdays from 11 to 1. It's a live call-in show. My co-host Paul LaGrange answers all the home improvement questions. So if you have an issue with any of your properties, he is a brilliant building science expert, contractor for 30 plus years. So you can always call in, text in, ask him questions about your property, and I answer all the questions real estate related.
Cool, and I definitely want to plug something Courtney's been starting up, which I think is a really good initiative, and I think you all want us to attend it, and I see where she's going with it. So Courtney started a Louisiana real estate exchange, and this is really modeled off people we're seeing in Florida, Ohio, and many other states where these investors, they get on these calls and you watch deals happen, man. Like you go to Florida and this person's got a deal, this person's got money, this person's got property management, and you just watch these deals happen in front of your eyes. So that's really what Courtney's trying to bring to Louisiana. So she's got the real estate exchange it's tomorrow at 10 a.m. on Zoom. How do we access that? Can you post it in our group?
Yeah, I'll post it in the group. You can go to CourtneyTenK.com. It has the upcoming event there, or look up North Shore Real Estate Investors Association.
If you go to CourtneyTenK.com, she's got a lot of stuff going. She runs the REIAs on the North Shore. So if the North Shore's close to you, Josh, and the likes, she has a lot of good meetings in Hammond, in Covington. I try to get over there when I can. They're really good. But the exchange meeting, I think, is I see what happens in other states, and that's what we're trying to do. So I encourage, if you're a wholesaler, got a deal, bring the deal to the table. If you're a private money person, come, you find things to fund. If there's anything you want to exchange, swap, skill you can bring, just get on that call. Even if you have nothing, just get on the call and start watching the calls, because I see what Courtney's building to, and I think it's going to be really cool, and I think you're all going to want to be involved.
Yeah, and NOREA is next Thursday, right, Dave?
Correct.
Yeah. So New Orleans Real Estate Investors Association, it'll be next Thursday.
That's a main meeting?
Yeah.
What's the location again, David?
It's at the Jefferson Orleans room on Severn.
Uh-huh. And when's your basic class?
That's on the 4th Thursday.
Yeah. David does a basic class on a 4th Thursday, which is really cool. I did all of his modules. He does the same thing every year and repeats over it, and I did all that. That's really strong to get to. David, title attorney, he's very smart and he understands real estate, so that's a good one. And the main meetings are also good. There's always national speakers. I think it's Home Depot this month, and good networking as well. So we encourage all these meetings. We just want, like, the more we network, the more we talk, the more deals we all do, and that's really what we're trying to achieve. So we're going to go for drinks. If anyone wants to come down at the River Shack Gretna afterwards, we just go informally, have some drinks, some food. You just pick up your own tab. So come down there, or JJ actually might he's offering. So thanks for coming, Josh. Special thanks, man. That was awesome, dude. Oh yeah, JJ, what you got?
Brother, shout out to you guys for even doing this. You know what I'm saying? To see all these people in this room, this is phenomenal, bro. So shout out to you.
It's growing.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.